So the first 3 months / newborn advice, that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. And we're going to try and do this while my baby is like playing. Like she's currently here at the moment. So you want to come? I was so overwhelmed in the first 3 months, it was unreal. When I speak to other mums, they just feel like it is crazy and then it gets easier after a certain point, which is 110% true. So in the first 3 months, 3 to 4 months of your baby's life, they have no circadian rhythm. So something that I didn't really know about, they don't know the difference between night and day like we know the difference between night and day. They can be up all night and generally they will be fed every 2 to 3 hours. They don't know whether that's in the day or in the night. What we would do is in the day, we would keep her naps like in the living room and have her more in the sunlight and just sleep in the day in that way, because again, you can't sleep train them at this age. You can't even teach them about sleep because they're not gonna have that. They are literally just sleep, eat, surviving, awake for 35 minutes, 45 minutes, etc. And then what we would do in the evening is take her into the bedroom, keep her in the bedroom, and then have her sleeping and feeding through there. So she had an idea that, okay, this is the bedroom, this is dark, this is the night. Obviously, she doesn't develop the circadian rhythm, but we try to put that routine in after stuff that we read, obviously, online. So they don't know the difference between day and night. Like, I feel like I did know that, but I didn't know that, you know, and that's sometimes like why they can be wide awake in the middle of the night. Like, it's very normal for a newborn to feed like 2 to 3 hours. They will even tell you a lot of the time in the hospital to like wake your baby up at about 3 hours if they haven't fed. So they do feed a lot. So that may be like your formula, your bottle, your breast, whatever you are giving to them, they do feed a lot during the first 3 months. This is one of the things that I had absolutely no idea about, that babies get overtired. Like, I just thought they went to sleep. They don't. Like, sometimes if they're overstimulated or they cannot fall asleep on their own accord, they don't feel, you know, comfortable, so they're not sleeping on top of you or in a swaddle or whatever that it may be. Because a lot of the time in the first 3 months, they need some sort of sleep aid. We got into a habit of like having our baby like sleeping on top of us. My husband used to have that all the time. We were pretty much locked in for the first 4 weeks after we had the baby for infection reasons. And so we got into the habit of always like holding her, having her in the sling. So she got used to that. But if we didn't do that, she would get overtired and then cry. And we would be like, why is she crying? We're so confused. And we realized that basically been awake for way too long. This is another thing. Nobody taught us about wake windows. Like, babies have wake windows. That wake window in the newborn stage can be anything between 35 and 45 minutes, and they should be sleeping after that. They don't have the capacity to be awake longer than that. They will either go to sleep if we're lucky, or need help in going to sleep. And if they are overtired, so for example, if your baby's wake window is like, I don't know, 35 minutes to 45 minutes and they've been awake like close to an hour, they will be really, really frustrated and crying and really in distress because they haven't been given the opportunity, or they are now overtired and can't go to sleep. A lot of babies get colic, and it's a buildup of obviously gas in their system and they're unable to let it out. Now, obviously, there are multiple things that you can do, like, you know, ensuring that you potentially take a break in a feed, burp them, and then let them carry on feeding, burping them properly after they have fed, and just ensure that, you know, all that, as much air is like let out of the system as possible. I think there's like different methods that you can ensure when bottle feeding your baby, so getting anti-colic bottles, things like that. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of colic, but it's something to learn about. Like, when we got home, we found from the hospital our baby was screaming and crying a lot. And then when we obviously consulted the doctor, we figured out it was colic. Now, with the colic medication, everything ended up like working. But then I've also spoken to other mums that were like, colic medication didn't work on their child. So colic is something just to ask your doctor about, ask your medical professional about, get a little bit more information. I think it's always good to know, because even if your baby doesn't have it, if you have a second baby, you'd be prepared. A lot of people tell me like, oh, when you have a second kid, like loads of different things end up happening. So colic is just something that, you know, look it up online, learn a little bit about it. It's always just good to have it in the back of your head, especially if your baby is crying a lot, and you know that could be one of those reasons, and then you can then go and ask a medical professional, is that the reason why my baby is crying? And then this is kind of just general advice I would give mums, like in the first 3 months, is one, just take it super easy. I feel like I was in a real rush to kind of get back into doing things and cleaning my house and having things the way that I wanted to be, but those things are not important. Like, it's really, really difficult to just heal and start feeling like yourself again. So really take that time to rest, relax, rejuvenate. Really difficult, I feel like, when you're a breastfeeding mom, to take that time to rest and relax and rejuvenate. But where you can, steal those opportunities, do it. I feel like I was just desperate to get back into the person that I was, and we have to sometimes remind ourselves that my body's not ready. Like, I mentally might be ready, but my body's not ready to get to that stage just yet. It's so hard. Like, people say going from 0 to 1 is such a culture shock and such a life shock that we think that we can do absolutely everything. And I think with time you can. Like, with time it gets easier to manage your baby's schedule, your mental health, you know. But when you've just given birth, there's a good chance you have not healed properly, or it's going to take you time to heal properly, or you could be in a lot of pain. And this is the time to really just rest, get the help, really just brace yourself for this new life that's coming ahead, because I feel like that's why I found the newborn stage the hardest, because I just didn't know what I was doing. I was so confused a lot of the time. Anyway, would be keen to know how your newborn first couple of months went with your baby. My baby is gonna be 1 soon. Like, I'm so emotional about that. It's unreal. Like, this has been literally the fastest year of my life. But yeah, what would you tell other mums who are trying to prepare, and how would you prepare them for the joys of motherhood?